Hi, this is Michael. I want to talk with you today about rebuilding your identity after a crisis. So, after some type of abuse, some type of emotional crisis, a lot of times we try and cope by, really the first step is just ignoring that it happened, saying that it didn't happen, believing that it didn't happen. Um, and eventually it always comes back. Those things are very difficult to suppress, and a lot of times we think we're very good at that and we're able to suppress it for a minute, but it always comes back, usually much worse, much bigger. And the more we just try and push on it, push it down, the more power it has to come back. So really the way that we need to get around this is to sidestep it. And by that, I call creating a new identity, creating this identity capital, this idea that you are someone different. You're not just someone who that didn't happen to. You're someone who went through that and came out stronger. So you're not a victim. Some people like to call it a survivor. You're someone who overcame this adversity. A lot of people get through adversity and just give up, and we think that that's really not an option with this stuff that's going on in your head, because giving up is, you have to keep living each day. Giving up is just living with the abuser still abusing you inside of your head. The constant, basically you internalize that, and you begin thinking that you're not worthy, you're not good at this, you're not worthy of fulfillment in your own mind. So, when you take a step and you step aside, say, that happened to me, but that does not define me, then you're kind of left with this void. Well, what am I? So long you've been defined as this victim, as this person powerless to an outside force that is doing things that you don't want. And once you realize that, instead of just trying to ignore that that's where you've been, you're able to start rebuilding your identity. You can say, okay, that happened to me, now what? Now what am I going to be? What am I going to do? And that can be overwhelming. So much of your identity was tied up in suppressing those thoughts, and so much of your daily energy that you really haven't been maybe looking out and exploring new things, having new experiences. So you need to take the first steps. And in my life, what I did is I started looking at my hobbies. How can I learn about something new? I piddled around in all kinds of different little hobbies, researched a string of things online, watched some YouTube videos, I don't know, just become your own little expert in something, create a blog, just create something. And then when those critical thoughts come back, which they probably will, even when we're working through it and everything's working, everyone has bad days. You can look to what you're doing and say, you know what, I've created that. That's me. That's something I've done. The same with relationships. That's a really strong coping mechanism. Going out and meeting people. And meeting people is very difficult for a lot of people. But if you start with, say, your hobbies, your interests, and you have common things, it's a lot easier to meet people. So in my instance, I started an ultimate frisbee pickup game, and it was the best thing that happened to me. I was able to meet so many people, and just people that I wouldn't have just run into on the street and been like, hey, let's be friends. That's not how people form friendships. They share a common interest, they begin talking, they're like, wow, this is, a great person who's interested in some of the great things I am, and I believe that you have a lot to offer as well. Even meeting people at support groups who are going through the same things. Together, you're creating this identity as survivors, as people who overcome this adversity, and that can form immensely strong bonds. So I guess you need to be honest with yourself, stop suppressing these feelings, but try and sidestep them. Say, these things happened, I felt this way, but I'm going to create who I want to be today. And just start creating, start looking at what interests you. You may be in a position like I was for many years where I said nothing interests me. Most interested in not being awake, maybe being asleep, I don't know, eating ice cream, just escaping kind of things. But and that's okay. You need to give yourself time as you're kind of shifting. You're not just going to shift instantly. And just slowly explore things, try and do something each day, and I know that soon enough you'll just look back and say, wow, I have built these things, I've started these hobbies, I've met these people, and now I'm such a different person. And as you build more and more in your life, that part of the abuse and those emotions and feelings you were trying to hide and push away, they become less powerful and less of a part of who you are. You can say, okay, that happened, but now I am the person that I wanted to be and that I chose to be, not the abuse that I didn't choose. That's not my identity anymore. So I hope this helps, and I'm excited to see that you're joining me on the path to recovery. Leave some comments below. Hopefully you can help out other viewers of the video and we can help each other.